Hi students, good morning and welcome to this new class. I hope all of you are keeping fine, trying your level best to learn your lessons, to study your lessons and so on. So make use of this opportunity that is given to you. Do not just waste your time but try to put into practice the things that you learn. Make it part of your life, and don't just learn for the sake of learning or for the sake of getting mark, but have that great desire that I want to learn more about the earth that we are living on, about the country where we are living and so on. So when we have such a great desire to learn, then whatever may be the difficulties, whatever may be the situation that we are going through, I am quite sure we will be able to overcome it, will be able to overcome it and achieve success. That is what we all need to do. So I wish you all try your heart. I wish, that is my wish for you all. So now let's come back to the lesson. Today we shall study about another part of the Indian physiography, that is the Indian desert. So we already saw some of the important parts of the India. We are starting from North India, starting with the Himalayas. Below the Himalaya there is the northern plains are there, and below the northern plains there is the plateau is there. Which plateau it is? It is a peninsular plateau. Then we are coming across the fourth area. The fourth physical feature is the Indian desert. So we have not only the fertile northern plains, not only the snow-covered Himalaya mountains, but we also have deserts. Some area of our country is desert, filled with sand and not able to have any vegetation growing there. So the Indian desert lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills. So we saw yesterday about the place where these are. So we shall use our map again. We saw yesterday the position of different mountains. So today, and we saw there is Aravalli Mountains, and next to Aravalli Mountain is the Indian desert begins. So the Indian desert lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Mountain. The western side of the Aravalli Mountain, the Indian desert begins. So Aravalli Mountains are here, and the desert region begins in the west of these Aravalli Mountains. Then it is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. So this desert, Indian desert, what is the speciality of this Indian desert or the feature? It is undulating. Undulating means not plain, not level. It is up and down, like waves. I'm sure you might have observed the waves moving up and down. So this sand in the desert also is up and down like this. Why? Because it is always in the move, constantly moving because of the wind. There is no rainfall carrying away the sand, but it is a wind that is working as an agent of the soil transportation or sand transportation. So each time, depending on the strength of the wind or the power of the wind, the sand is carried away and deposited in another place. So they are undulating, that is up and down. And they are sand dunes. Dune means the shape of this dune, not the plain but like a dome, you can say. So sand is brought and deposited like this. Then another place it may be again. So this is the position. Lot of sand dunes are there going up and down. It is all because of the activity of the wind. Then this region receives very low rainfall below 150 mm per year. So the rainfall that they receive is very little, 150 mm per year. So in a year they receive only just 150 mm. That is too little. And it has arid climate with low vegetation counts. So the climate in this region is arid. Arid means dry. It is understood. In the desert we cannot have very cool climate, isn't it? So by the very name desert, it means that they have their very dry climate. So and it has got very low vegetation cover. You can imagine what kind of vegetation will be growing in the desert. It will be thorny plants, not like the trees that we find in our region. But the desert plants or desert vegetation is mostly thorny plants. Why thorny plants? Because the thorny plants can save water more. It can prevent the evaporation. Otherwise, the water that is in the plant, it will be evaporated because of the heat of the sun, and the tree will die off very fast. But this type of thorny plants, because of the shape of their leaves, their shapes of the leaves are like thorns. They may not have much leaves, but it is like a thorn. So that thorn has got such a facility or such a capacity to prevent water loss. That's why most of the dry places we will find trees growing with lot of thorns. Instead of leaf, they will have lot of thorns, and that is what the trees found in Indian desert as well. Then streams appear during the rainy season. We said they receive only just 150 mm rainfall during the rainy season in a year, and during this rainy season suddenly some small streams appear. Very small streams are appearing. So what happens then? And soon after they disappear into the sand. So they appear suddenly some streams, and soon they will be disappearing also. What is the reason? Because of the sand. The water is simply absorbed into the sand. Water cannot flow through the sand. First of all, the volume of the water is very low. It cannot sustain reaching to the other side of the desert. So before they reach the other side of the desert, the stream already dry up. All the water will disappear into the sand. So they do not have enough water. The streams are very small because the rainfall is very little. And if they suppose they receive very heavy rainfall, then this region would have turned out to be a very fertile plain area. But unfortunately, the rainfall is very less there. Therefore, this region is very dry. The little rain that they receive, it will create some small streams, and that streams are also disappearing into the sand very soon. Soon after the rain, the streams also will dry up. Then Luni is the only large river in this region. You can underline. So in this Indian desert, there is only one large river, and the name of the river is Luni. L-U-N-I. Luni is the only large river. So underline and keep. That is very important. That is the only big river in this region. You can see in your picture about the people who are living in this Indian desert, how these women are carrying water. So they had to travel such a long distance carrying one pot of water. Almost all their day is spent for carrying water. So Bachans, or that is crescent shaped dunes, cover larger areas. So most of the places the dunes are this shape, up and down. That is most of the dunes are there, sand dunes, but there are also longitudinal dunes. So instead of this crescent type, there are also long dunes are there, long dunes are there, and they become prominent near to Indo-Pakistan boundary. So this kind of long dunes instead of these small curved ones, there's long dunes are there as they reach this India-Pakistan boundary. So this is found in the Rajasthan state here, and after Rajasthan it is Pakistan. So this boundary between Rajasthan or India and Pakistan, that is a place where we find a lot of these longitudinal dunes, long dunes. Other ones are small ones going round or in the crescent shape, but some are very long that we will find in the border between India and Pakistan. And if you visit Jaisalmer, you may go to see group of barchans. So you will find this barchans there. Barchans is the name of this sand dunes. That is so if you visit Rajasthan, the place called Jaisalmer. If you visit there, you will be able to find lot of these barchans, these curves are there, sand dunes are there. So when you go for your higher studies alone, go to Rajasthan, study there, then you will be able to see the different locations, different beautiful places. Otherwise, always you will be in your own locality and you will not know what is happening outside or how the people living in other parts of India, and so you will not know. So try to make it outside your state and try to meet the people, learn about their culture, how their lifestyle or that. Then you will know how fortunate you are, how much facilities and privileges you have, and so on. So that is a little information that we have about the Indian desert. Now let us come to another area of India, that is the coastal plains. The coastal plains. So we have the coastal plains, and from the coastal name itself we can understand it will be near the ocean. We have both sides of India, we have coastal areas. So from here, Gujarat to Kerala, we have the coastal plain, and from here, from West Bengal to Tamil Nadu, we have the coastal plain. So we have such a long coastal plain are there, coastal area is there, and both sides of the coastal, the sea, we have a plain land is there. That is what we call it coastal plain. So that is what we are going to see. So the peninsular plateau is flanked by stretch of narrow coastal strips. So here the coastal strip is there, but in between what is there? The peninsular plateau is coming up to here. Then both sides we saw there are two mountains are there, Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat. And after this mountain, Western Ghat will not come at the close of the boundary, but little inside. But other side of this Western Ghat and other side of the Eastern Ghat, the plain area is there. That is called the coastal plains. So this peninsular plateau is flanked by stretch of narrow coastal strips. A very narrow, not very broad, but very narrow, but very long coastal strip. Coastal area is there, running along the Arabian Sea. So this coastal area is coming along the Arabian Sea. Arabian Sea is here. It is along the Arabian Sea on the west, and the Bay of Bengal on the east. This side is Bay of Bengal, and this side also there is a coastal plain is there. The western coast, sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea is a narrow plain. I hope you know what is sandwich. So if you go to shop, they will give you sandwich. If you order in the hotel, they will give you sandwich. Or at home we can make. Take 2 slices of bread and in between you apply bread with the jam or butter or whatever it is. Then paste together 2 pieces of bread. That is called sandwich. So 2 side bread is a, in the middle there is a soft thing or jam. So we can compare the coastal plain also something similar way. So one side there is Western Ghats, the mountains are there, long mountain, and this side there is a long sea is there, Arabian Sea, and in the middle there is coastal plain. So it is like a jam, it is like a sandwich. The coastal plain, it is in the middle of a mountain and of the sea. Then it consists of 3 sections. So this western coastal plain, we can say it is consists of 3 parts. So the top part, the middle part and the lower part. So let's see what is it called. The northern part of the coast is called Konkan. So the northern part, that is the top part of this coastal plain, we are talking about the western side. The top part, that is from Mumbai to Goa. Goa is here, just near to Maharashtra and Karnataka. Goa is a small area, small state, and Mumbai is here, near to Maharashtra and the border with the Gujarat. So from there, Mumbai to up to Goa, this coastal plain is known as Konkan area. Konkan. So we can underline Konkan. Between Mumbai to Goa is known as Konkan. Then after that, the central stretch is called Kannad plain. So from Goa to we can say Goa to the Kerala. That is the central part. That is called Kannad coast or Kannad plain. While the southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar coast, and the southern part, the most end part, that is along the Kerala, that is called Malabar coast. So remember, the top part is called Konkan coast, that is from Bombay to Goa. Then the central part is known as Kannad plain, and the lowest part or the southernmost part is known as Malabar coast. So that is the information all about the western coastal plain. Now let us come to eastern coastal plain, the eastern side, from West Bengal up to Tamil Nadu. So the plain along the Bay of Bengal are wide and level. So comparing to this western coastal plain, the area in the east, the coastal plains in the east, it is more wide, it is more broad, and it is also more level. Here a lot of unlevel areas are there, up and down, high, slopes are there. But in the eastern side, it is more plain and it is more wide also. And in the northern part, it is referred to as Northern Sarkar. So the northern part, the top part of the eastern plain, coastal plain, is known as Northern Sarkar, while the southern part is known as Coromandel coast. So here only 2 divisions are there, northern part and the southern part. So northern part is known as Northern Sarkar and the southern part is known as Coromandel coast. So remember, this side the west there are 3 divisions. North is known as Konkan, then the central, then the Malabar coast. But here in the east it is only 2, that is Northern Sarkar on top and the southern part is known as Konkan coast. Coromandel coast. Large rivers such as Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri have formed extensive delta on this coast. So this coastal land, eastern coastal land, there are many rivers are there. Some of the very big rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So these four rivers are flowing through this coastal region, and they are very making it very fertile. The land is made into very fertile area, fertile regions. Then it is creating lot of delta. You know what is delta? The good soil that is carried by the river and depositing at the side of the river, that is called delta. So the soil that is brought by the river is very fertile, good for harvest, good for farming and so on. So the farmers in that region, they will be able to cultivate very well, will be able to get good harvest, good crops and so on. Then Lake Chilica is an important feature along the eastern coast. Another thing that you can underline in your book is that sentence. Lake Chilica is an important feature along the eastern coast. So in this eastern coast, a very famous lake is there called Lake Chilica. What is the importance of Lake Chilica? You will find in the next page. Do you know? The next line. The Chilica Lake is the largest saltwater lake in India. You can underline. That is the largest saltwater lake in India. What is the name of the largest saltwater lake in India? It is Chilica. It lies in the state of Odisha. So now it is known as Odisha. No, before it was known as Odisha. Now the state name is Odisha. So where is Odisha? We will find here, just after between West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh you will find. So the Lake Chilica is in Orissa state, and that is the largest saltwater lake. So for making salt and so, this water can be used. You can keep it somewhere and make it evaporate, and then the salt will be left out. So that is the importance of this Chilica lake. So it lies in the state of Odisha in the south of Mahanadi Delta. So the southern part of this Mahanadi river, this Chilica lake starts. So the Mahanadi is there, below that is the Chilica lake. So we shall wind up for today. I hope you remember some of the important facts about the desert. What is that we find in the Indian desert? Two type of dunes. One is the small ones. The what shape it is? It is in the sand dune, or it is in the crescent shape. But we will also find long sand dunes as we approach the border between India and Pakistan, and we will find there is only 150 rains in the Indian desert region. They receive only 150 mm per year, and most of the streams that appear during this rainy season will disappear soon because of too much of sand there. And we find just one river. The biggest river in this region is called Luni. Then we come across coastal plains. We have two coastal plains are there, in the west and in the east. West, we can divide them into three areas. The northern part is known as Konkan. Then the central part is known as Central Plain, and the southern part is known as Malabar Coast. And when we come to the eastern coastal plain, we can divide them into two. One is the northern part is known as Northern Circuit. Then the below it is known as Coromandel Coast. The second part, or the southernmost part of the eastern coastal land, is known as Coromandel Coast. And we said there is a famous rivers are there. Four famous rivers are there: Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. These four rivers are there. Then there is also a famous lake is there, a lake called Chiliga Lake, and that is the largest lake in India of salt water. So that is a specialty of the Chiliga Lake. It is a salt water lake and it is the largest in India. So that is all for today. So I request you to read your textbook nicely again and again. Try to understand all these names, underline them and read again and learn more. Learn again and again. So that way make it very familiar terms with you. Anytime we call you and ask you, you should be able to respond. That shows you should be thorough with all these names and locations and so on. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day.